Hi everyone, my name is Tom Tuberg and I'm the Managing Director and the CEO of MSG International. As you already know, during the past 8-10 years especially, it's just been an all-out war to win new clients for your law firm. Let me start with just a few statistics for you. In April of 2011, there was 1.2 million licensed attorneys in the U.S. In 2013, there's an average of one lawyer for every person in the country. In 2014, there's 45,000 more attorneys who are going to be graduating from law school and joining you in your pond. Now, assuming that 25,000 attorneys retire from active practice every year, that means that each year 20,000 new competitors are chasing roughly the same number of potential clients for your law practice. So let me refresh your memory with a few more facts and figures. Since 2006, the way that we communicate has evolved at least 2 iterations or more. We've gone from receiving and paying our personal bills via snail mail to clicking a button on our bank's bill pay website, and the post office nearly disappeared in 2008. We watch news unfold in real time on the CNN website, and 40% of the newspaper industry just about disappeared, or at a minimum reinvented itself in the past 6 years. We've moved away from MySpace, email, and Friendster to Google, Facebook, Instant Chat, Twitter with its 140 character limit per message, and text messages with its cryptic acronyms. The other day a colleague recommended an excellent TED Talk by somebody by the name of Simon Sinek, and I'm not sure that's how you pronounce his name, but it's spelled S-I-N-E-K, and the presentation was entitled Start with Why. If you haven't heard of it, I'll tell you that it's probably the most profound presentation that I've listened to in a long time. Start with why. Why make a series of marketing videos? Any marketing professional can quickly and easily make some videos about the topic. I could make some noise and tell you that I have a better message than every other marketer that's out there. I could make some noise and tell you that the price is right for these videos. It's free. I could make some noise and tell you that these videos in this series that we're creating are conveniently available from one of our websites, ready and waiting for you 24/7. Just like everybody else. I could also tell you that I believe strongly in giving back to the community, which may be closer to the essence of the point that Mr. Sinek was making in his presentation. But when you stop and think about it, that's the standard formula that every slick marketing professional uses to sell products and services, whether you're a marketer providing marketing services like me, or an attorney providing legal services like you. This is the exact marketing script that's used for all of the information, the outrageous claims, all of the hype, and the noise that you're bombarded with every day. And the only answer to that is, it completely relies on a marketing strategy of having to shout louder than your competition in order to be effective. And it never answers the question of why I'm a marketing expert making videos about marketing, or why you're an attorney practicing law. You see, despite the huge amount of competition in the legal profession and all of the outrageous levels of information noise, I believe that the opportunity for you to excel in the legal profession as an attorney has never been better or easier. And there's actually several reasons for this. Reason number 1, everyone else is focusing exclusively on new promotional tactics for making even more noise about why they're the most aggressive, caring attorneys in town. It's why everybody does SEO and responsive websites for mobile marketing and all the other stuff. It's also why marketing professionals refer to these promotional tactics as the shiny object syndrome. It's a whole lot like bass fishing. Reason number 2 for why you have such a great opportunity to excel as an attorney. Everyone in every corner of your local business community is just as confused by the rapid pace of change in the way that we communicate and attract new clients. Just like the internet created this so-called level playing field, this massive amount of information noise equally drowns everyone out. So here's a really great opportunity for you just to do something different besides making a lot more noise. in order to stand out from the herd. The third reason why it's so easy for you to succeed in today's environment is everyone, in the legal profession especially, does such a mediocre job of marketing strategy and promotional tactics that learning a few simple, effective marketing techniques is going to blow your competition out of the water. In other words, they haven't set the bar for success very high, have they? So why did I make the decision to create these videos for the legal community? Because I know that beating your competition at attracting the best prospects who are ideally suited for your practice of law and converting them into profitable, great clients really eats at you, doesn't it? You know, I've had more than one client over the years contact me months or even years later to tell me what a life-changing experience that these techniques caused for them in their professional career. And I'm going to show you how during this series of videos. But before we get started with the 4 tactics that you need to get a competitive advantage, we need to be aware of 2 more specific dynamics that come into play in the environment here. Up until several years ago, attorneys and law firms didn't even have the option of advertising. Their only source of new clients was via referrals, primarily from other attorneys. And worrying about marketing and promotion just simply wasn't an issue in your world. The second dynamic that's in play here is that in the meantime, there's an entirely new generation of attorneys who don't have the same hang-ups or the same issues about marketing or using digital devices to troll their market for new clients. And this group of operators in particular doesn't have the issues about stealing your dinner or your clients. So that takes us to 2 specific problems that you're faced with. Referrals are a significantly declining source of new clients. Someone who needs an attorney for a DUI or a shoplifting arrest can pull out their smartphone and they can start dialing down a list of DUI attorneys or criminal defense attorneys in minutes without waiting for a recommendation from a referral bank or from another attorney. 125 years ago, Charles Darwin stated in his thesis, The Origin of Species, that you either adapt or you die. It's an active choice on your part. But here's the bigger problem. The only sources of marketing strategy or promotional information that you might have are from people with an ulterior motive. Buy my $40,000 website design services and I promise it'll cure all of your sales revenue problems. That's the typical strategy that most so-called marketing people use now. All right, that takes you up to speed on some of the background and the opportunities that it gives you to have success in a profession with a very high level of competition, and why we're making videos to teach you some basic marketing strategy and promotional tactics. So let's shift gears just a little bit right now and let's look at the 4 basic tactics or marketing strategies that you need to know about to get a competitive advantage that affect you, that affect your law firm and your sales revenue. The first one is something that I'll call the speed of life, and this is actually a very critical concept because it completely changed the landscape of how you run a law firm. It completely changed the landscape of how just about anybody runs a small business. In the old days, 7 or 10 years ago, like I'd said, attorneys didn't advertise ever. Marketing people were preoccupied with designing 4-color brochures and flyers, or creating a new direct mail program, or making logistical arrangements for the next big trade show that their company was going to be at. And then it all changed nearly overnight. As I mentioned earlier, attorneys now can advertise. Entire channels of communication, radio, newspaper, U.S. mail, nearly disappeared or completely restructured themselves. The way we communicate with each other has reinvented itself almost 2 to 3 times since 2008. So here's your takeaway in this point of the speed of life. Your business of practicing law is subject to all of the political, the economic, and the technological shifts that will continue to impact the business and economic environment that you're operating in. And just because you practice the esteemed profession of law doesn't give you immunity from these pressures that affect everyone else in the business community. The speed at which this environment will change is going to continue to increase over the years. You need an awareness of these changes and how they impact your business. Assigning this task to a secretary or a paralegal or an admin in your office is not the answer. No one is more interested or invested in your ongoing success going forward than you are. Embrace these changes that are coming at you and turn this flexibility and this adaptability into a competitive advantage. In the ongoing war for new clients, you need every strategic advantage. Adapting to the changes in your operating environment is absolutely paramount among them. The second key point for law firm marketing strategy is knowing where you're going and having the plan to get there from here. And this point is absolutely critical, and I might add it's often overlooked, especially for new law firm startups and for many of the smaller entrepreneurial law firms. Many established law firms, especially the larger ones, will have at least a 1-year plan and even perhaps a 5-year plan. If you haven't defined what success looks like in 12 months from now, how can you possibly achieve that? How are you going to get there other than by accident? Create your roadmap of your journey to success by creating and defining specific intermediate milestones that you need to achieve. This helps you to determine how much time, how much money, and what kind of resources you're going to need to dedicate to your promotional strategy. Continue by breaking each of these milestones down into specific tasks that need to be completed quarterly, monthly, weekly, or even daily. The third tactic for gaining a competitive advantage is the concept of taking action, of doing something. One of the principles of the universe, sort of like the law of gravity, is something that's called the Pareto principle. That's P-A-R-E-T-O. And it's the scientific term for the 80-20 rule that you're all familiar with. The Pareto principle is the reason why I know that 80% of the people who watch this video will never do anything about these issues. They will never take any discernible action to improve their business in a meaningful manner. 80% of your competitors are going to procrastinate. They'll never take action to create more effective promotional campaigns for their law firm or learning 2 or 3 new techniques each month to convert more prospects into clients. Taking action immediately eliminates 80% of your competition. You know, all that competition that you're struggling with, 80% of them just fall away if you just start taking action. A fourth key tactic to achieving a competitive advantage with your law practice is listening to all of the objections that your competitors have about communicating effectively with the crowd that produces your prospects and eventually your best clients. You know, in the book, The Art of War by the Chinese general Sun Tzu, he stated that somebody else's weaknesses are your opportunities to succeed. When your competitors are whining or complaining about their issues with marketing or communicating with clients or the latest changes that the court is imposing on the attorneys in the area, they're spilling all of their secrets regarding their competitive weaknesses. In my personal experience working with attorneys and law firms over the years, there's 4 basic weaknesses or excuses that I repeatedly hear that my clients, that my attorney clients use to justify their lack. If you know what these excuses are, you can use them to your competitive advantage in your local market. So let's quickly run through them. The first objection that a lot of attorneys have about marketing is a classic. I don't think lawyers or attorneys should be allowed to advertise. It cheapens the profession. And one of these days when I hear that, I'm going to ask, what profession is it cheapening? Is it marketing or is it legal? This usually comes from an older lawyer, and it isn't about whether they should or they shouldn't advertise or whether or not it cheapens the legal or the marketing profession. In reality, it's because this individual is concerned about facing the new reality of business in a digital world and is admitting defeat in advance. This is your weakest competitor to your competitive advantage. They won't even get involved in the game. They'll make up an excuse. I don't think that any attorney should be advertising. Another objection that attorneys have about marketing that I'll frequently run into is the problem of procrastination. You know, as a marketer, I'm not going to argue with a procrastinator. If they don't need to book any new clients this month, That's totally fine by me. There's no shortage of law firms that are going to pay dearly for a steady stream of new clients. Again, understanding on your part that human nature is inclined to postpone or put off or procrastinate new concepts like marketing, advertising, promotional techniques is just another vital competitive advantage for you. You know, another objection that I'll hear quite often too is, I'm cheap, or attorneys will describe their profession as they're cheap, and that's a description that I'll frequently get from, like I said, lawyers themselves about the legal profession. But you know, this time I am going to argue the point, because lawyers are smart people. They're not necessarily cheap. You know, lawyers have the intellectual capacity to recognize and understand a viable, low-risk opportunity when one presents itself. The ability to discern a marginal, risky opportunity, like I said, from one that may require a moderate investment of $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 perhaps, doesn't deserve to be described as cheap. Once again, your ability to discern and identify viable, low-risk opportunities for you to move forward is your competitive advantage. Another major objection that many attorneys have about marketing is, I just don't have the time. And yeah, I know that many of you work 60 or 70-hour work weeks, but how profitable are those clients? How productive are those billable hours? How much time are you wasting on those initial consultations with poor prospects who have zero chance of becoming your next client? The other point that I want to make here is that you're running a business. You take the time to pay your bills, or you're going to get evicted from your office, or the lights will get turned out. Well, marketing kind of falls in the same category. If you don't do the marketing, if you don't do the promotional strategy on a regular, consistent basis for your business, eventually your phone stops ringing, doesn't it? So here's an idea. Keep the referral business alive and refer these lousy prospects to your biggest competitor. Refuse to let them waste any more of your time. Use all of this free new time to do a better job of attracting better, more profitable clients. You already know that your competitors aren't going to do this. Remember the 80-20 rule that I was just talking about? On the other hand, if you're operating wall-to-wall with fabulous clients and making your millions, and you really don't need any help, make a video about it and share all your secrets with the rest of the legal profession. You know, earlier in the video I think I'd mentioned that this is the first in a series of 3 videos, and there's actually 2 additional videos that are coming, that are on the way. In our next video I'm going to send you a link for in the next day or 2. I'm going to show you 3 simple techniques that you can put to immediate use that same day to convert more prospects into clients. And I guarantee you that this is going to be stuff they never taught you in law school. And then in our last video I'm going to summarize these new concepts for you in a holistic, big picture perspective. And then I'm going to tell you about the different resources you have for objective, unbiased marketing strategy and promotional tactics advice. Do you remember earlier in the video when I made the comment that 80% of the people who watch this video will never take action? Taking action is the one single factor that stands between you and success. So here's your first action step, and it really almost seems kind of silly, but you know, there are some really important reasons for it. Take just a moment to use the comments section below this video to either leave a comment or ask a question. I promise that I'm going to answer each of your questions or comments personally. One of the reasons that this step is so important is because you've already are training yourself in a very small way to do exactly that, to move forward, to take action. So this takes us to the end of video number 1. Until our paths cross again in our next video, be safe and make it a truly profitable, productive day. See you next time.